Today we're going to jump into the Pine Tracks Ranch, and I'm going to show you, if I owned it, how I'd manage it to really bring the property to what it could be. So we're looking at the property right here. All these green squiggly lines are fields. These are FSA maps, and it's basically what's been farmed forever or has been farmed in the past. Right now it was been in CRP for years, and now it's just sitting there. They really haven't grazed it, but it's pretty good soils, and it's already been farmed before, so it takes a lot of that heavy lifting out of the way. So you want to go in there, and we want to revitalize that ground and bring it back to really intense farming. So I'd go in there and start on this 108 acres, and all of this is going to turn into small grains for a minimum of 2 years. And you really just want to do that to properly clean up the fields, get a good crop growing, get a new seed bed established, and then after that you can kind of pick and choose and play with it, do half one, half another. But I just like doing that. So you're going to do 2 years of small grains, and I'll also do some of this stuff over here. Pick and choose what you like. Some of this stuff's a little better than the other, and by better I mean some of the soils look a little bit better. And sometimes if you got good grass growing, it's better to just not mess it up, because that turns into nesting habitat, turns into diversification of the ground. You wouldn't want to farm this. And like those sharp-tailed, they like those little open ridges, and if there's some good grass growing there already, just leave it. Don't mess with it. So you got a nice chunk of farming there. And then this area over here, I would also farm. So you're gonna want to do the same thing. 2 years of grain. I know it looks kind of a mess the way I'm doing it, but you get the idea. So there you go. 2 years worth of work right there. And that's realistic. I mean, that could be done, and it would really just turn the place into something new right away. You'd see your upland birds take off really quickly, and a byproduct of doing habitat for upland birds is your other wildlife also take advantage of it. In Montana, we're not allowed to do food plots for big game to attract big game. However, we can do it for upland birds, and sometimes a good byproduct is just the fact that it works for all the critters in the area. So that's what I would do. That would be year 1 through 2. And you'd see a huge change. So year 3 is kind of the fun one. You can go in there and say, wait, we got kind of a nice seedbed established, and we got clean crops. Now I want to go see what else I can do. So I would add some variety. I love diversification. And I would pick these spots here, and I'd do a legume. I would do sainfoin or alfalfa. I personally like alfalfa the most. A lot of people like sainfoin better. It just kind of depends on who you are. I like alfalfa because if you you do that first cutting in the 4th of July, and then you get a little bit of rain in between, that alfalfa will perk back up into a good green, where that sainfoin really kind of is more of just a one cutting crop, and then it doesn't do much after that. But that one cutting crop does work very well for a lot of people. So I would do that, and then I would maybe pick and choose some other spots. Maybe you'd want to come in here and introduce some alfalfa as well, maybe even in this zone. So, and then the rest I would always have a good chunk of grain on the place, and then interweave some alfalfa into it. And then you can do some other sort of like warm season cover crops. You can do turnips and radishes. You can do peas. There's just lots of stuff you can do. You can do oats and barley. It doesn't really matter. But that's what you can do, is just, once you get that to the farm ground is established, then you can go in there. And that alfalfa will take about, the first year is pretty tough. So it takes 2 years to get established. So that's 3 and 4 with the alfalfa. And then after that, like I said, you're rolling. You can do kind of whatever you want. And then I would just play with that. There's really not much else you should do to the farmland, in my opinion, other than just really picking and choosing little areas to highlight. The other thing I would do is I'll show you where I would build a house. I really like this zone in here. You have a shelter belt of Russian olive, which are huge, and you're not allowed to plant rush at all in Montana anymore. They're considered noxious weed. So those ones are established, they're grandfathered in. It's a beautiful stretch, and the pheasants and everything love that. The sharp-tails will roost in there. And you got your county road right in here, and let's see, you got your county road right here, and you come over. Come over, and so you got power going through the property at this trajectory. Your neighbor has a well of 200 feet deep and about 10 to 15 gallons a minute, so you can kind of understand that you could probably drill a well similar. Obviously consult with your well driller. Your utilities are close, and then you're not getting into your wildlife thick part of the property where you can more or less just enjoy them, and you can go hunt them if you want to. However, you're not going to be living where they're bedding and living where they're feeding. So you're looking at this southwest if you had your house in here. Be kind of neat. Other than that, that's kind of it. I mean, it'd be a fun, this would be 5 years, and you'd be 100% done. I know it sounds like a long time, but it'd be a really fun process in between. And currently right now there's elk, there's deer, there's birds on the ranch. You're only going to see those numbers increase through just a little intervention, and then you're going to just have a little bit more well-rounded property. You're going to add value to it, and it's just going to be a really fun process while you're doing it. So that's Pine Tracks Ranch. This is what I would do if I owned it.